Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, May 30th, and I haven't done one of these in a while. It's been a couple of months, so pardon me while I drink a little bit more coffee, because I need some. So I figured I would do one of these again. I've got a few things to go over and not a lot of time to type, because my whole week kind of exploded on me just a little bit. It's been more of a roller coaster. So I figured I would fill everybody in this way, because it's faster. If I can do it in one take, it's really fast. Okay, so first of all, I've been off of the muscle relaxers for a while, which is great because now I can think clearly and comprehend things. So I've been catching up on work, and I've been very excited because I can sit in the chair and I can move with reasonable ease. So that's been going really well for me. And just as I'm starting to catch up, I was working late the other night, and I heard this little noise in the basement. And Dan was upstairs and Gail was upstairs, and I, kind of listened, and then it stopped, and I kept working, and I thought, it's the vent or something. And then it happened again, so I got up to investigate in the basement, and before anybody else says anything, she didn't, I was sort of read the riot act, not really, just a little tiny riot act, from PPG, who pointed out that 9 years of X-Files watching, and I'm getting up and investigating a noise all by myself. What am I thinking? First of all, in my defense, I don't think Toombs is a threat anymore. I don't remember why. It seems to me he either went into hibernating, or I know he was captured in the beginning of the series, but I don't remember what happened the next time he showed up. Was he killed, or is he into hibernating again? Either way, somebody correct me on that, or figure that out for me, because I don't have time. But in any case, in my head, Toombs was no longer a threat, so, noises that sound like a ventilation system are okay to check out. In addition to that, my homeowners, we don't have a homeowners association, we don't have CCNRs in my neighborhood, so I don't have to worry about, creatures coming out of the ground except for actual critters, so I figured it was a mouse. Went in to flip on the light, and I saw this cute little mouse sitting on the little end table in there, and he jumped and ran. And I did my little girly, it wasn't too girly of a scream, I just sort of bellowed, Dan, there's a mouse inside, and I slammed the door shut, with me inside the room, by the way, because I need to make sure it didn't get out. It was chewing on a little piece of artwork that Gail had made out of noodles. So, folks with kids, when your kids make artwork out of noodles, don't tape it to the wall in the basement. I didn't even put it there, Gail did. She was decorating. So, that piece of artwork has unfortunately found a new home in the garbage. So, we started setting traps. Now, I was convinced that that they breached the perimeter, and that there had to have been evidence somewhere in the room of where they came in. The room is half foundation because it's a lower level, so I was going around the top of the foundation looking for holes or whatever. I don't think they can chew through cement, so I didn't pull things out and look at the cement level. Couldn't find a point of entry. We have a floating ceiling down there, so I figured maybe they followed the vent and came down from the vent, and in that case, they're acrobatic. They could jump onto the little curtain and go down the curtain and be on the shelf and down to the floor, and, then we're infested. So we've been setting traps in there, the live traps, to catch the little guy and keeping the door shut. And he got out of the big trap. So, because I think it's because it was set up on carpeting and he could wiggle out of the little trap door things. So we put the little trap down on the floor yesterday and finally caught the little guy. Relocated him to a park about 5 miles away. So, hopefully he doesn't have access to MapQuest. He won't find his way back to this particular house. Reset the traps, haven't had any activity, peanut butter's still there, there's no little footprints anywhere, so Dan may be right. His theory was that it just walked in from the garage because the garage door was open that day. And I'm thinking, what are the chances for the half hour that the door was open, a mouse would just wander into the house? Pretty good, I guess. So he might be right. And if he is, then I don't have to worry about a hull breach, which is really good, because that's my big, concern. So that was the beginning of the week. Excitement actually it was an underlying piece of thing for me to worry about throughout the week. Speaking of hull breaches and other geeky sort of things, I want to thank Rain Dog and Bright Dreamer for your comments the other day about Geek Points, because I actually started Googling geek levels, trying to figure out how to count where your level is, or keep record of where your level is. Turns out, as far as I can tell, there aren't any official geek levels that I can find. There are various quizzes you could take to find out what kind of geek you are, which, if you don't know what kind of geek you are, then, you know, you're obviously not geeky enough. I don't know. There's geek code, so you can write your geek code and let people know what type of geek you are in that way. But there's no geek, like, character sheet level way to keep track of your levels. So, you know, I kind of started thinking about, oh, if this is worth 50 points, what's, 5, 10, 20, whatever. And I started making just, like, little notes in my little notebook. This is the notebook that I carry with me everywhere for my own sanity, because when I brainstorm, things go in and out, and I've got to sit and write them down really fast. So that's what this is for. And it's turned into like 4 pages of, bonus points, and I've got to still figure out how to work hero points into it, because I like that idea. Mine is sort of straightforward, just a total, but I'm thinking there's got to be some kind of hero point thing that you can apply for when your social geekiness kicks in and you have an issue that could remove points potentially. You've got to have a trump card that you can play to gain those back. So I'm still working that out. Now, my original new plan with this, it sort of evolved into this idea that I was going to make like a big old color-coded spreadsheet. And that was on my mental schedule to do last night during the Lost series finale. Problem with that is my computer, I think I made it explode yesterday, or I thought it was going to explode, I should say. Little bit of a freak out. Obviously it's working again because I'm here and I'm using it. But yesterday was a big panic situation. I was doing really good with work, and I was all excited about all this work that I did this week and failed to back up. And I turned on my laptop, and I was greeted with a black screen with white writing telling me that there was a corrupt Windows System 32 file. It was either corrupt or missing, and I needed to replace it, and I didn't have the disk to replace it, and I, panicked, called my IT friend, and you're in trouble when you call your IT friend and say, hey, this is what my screen says, and their answer is, oh, you are screwed. That was fantastic to hear. So I had to take it into a shop, and I've never had to do that before in my years of working and playing with computers. I've never had to do that. I've installed video cards by myself, just, I felt so inadequate having to do that. I think I probably could have fixed it if I had the disk. It would have taken time, though, and so yesterday just sort of, yesterday was a big explosion of panic. But, what I got out of it is a trip to Circuit City to get myself my own external hard drive, and last night I backed everything up. So I've got my little external hard drive, and it's actually very nice. It's got a little light on it that kind of goes up and down when the files are being transferred, so it looks like a Cylon. So that's my Cylon drive, I've named it. It's actually pretty cool. So I'm now that I have everything backed up, I should never have another computer problem ever again, right? That's the theory. So that is that, and I'm over 9 minutes. Very quick about the black and white photography contest. I am going to I got some feedback, so for those of you, I realize I didn't put it up there in time to get a lot of feedback, but if anybody still has time to look and has any comments on any of the pictures, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for feedback from people. I am going to send my entry in anyway today, but I'm still looking for any sort of critiques from people, because all they ever do is say, no, you're not going to be published, or yes, you are, but they don't actually critique the work, so I need like outside input from that kind of stuff. And at this point, I'm almost at 10 minutes, so I have to get it off, because YouTube is a 10-minute limit. So I will talk to you all later, and I hope everybody has a really good weekend. Bye.